Hey, this is Faye, and today we're gonna try something a little bit new, and you guys will have to tell me if it's something that we're gonna do more of or not. But see, while I was researching for other lore videos, I found a lot of small trivia and facts that just really didn't fit in with an overarching theme. And at the same time, I also wanted to do some fan art of people's characters, because I gotta get back into drawing somehow, and drawing to make other people happy is a really big motivator of mine. So I figured then I can take these buckets of facts and trivia that fits nowhere, and then draw a character that is marginally related to these facts and trivia, and see how that turns out. And today's not quite knowing what she volunteered for volunteer is Fran, who takes all of these lovely screenshots that you've seen for the thumbnails for my videos. Like, she is brilliant at this. Fran is, as you can see, a Highlander, or well, Philander, I guess they're often called for obvious reasons. She's an Ala Mhigo and a doctor, and as you can see from the sketch I've made here, she looks a little bit skeptic. There is a reason for that, because I think that being a doctor and hailing from this region must suck, and we're gonna get into later why that might be. But anyway, this is our living target. Say hi. She has no clue what she's in for yet. But today's general topic is gonna be Highlanders and Ala Mhigos and Ala Mhigo and things related to Ala Mhigo. So let's see how this goes. During the sixth calamity, that great flood that was caused because the Magi couldn't play nice? Well, during that one, there was a great big meteor in the sky, and the people who believed in Ralga, like Ralga's followers, they saw this as a sign, because his divine symbol is that of a streaking meteor. So they took this as a sign that they must follow in the direction that this meteor was going, and it was going north. And so they got into the region of Gurabanya and they settled in the mountains. And this turned out to be a really brilliant life choice on their part, because there was a flood incoming right around the corner. So lucky them. The Highlanders are named because of these strongholds that they built high up in the mountains, and because they've lived in the mountains for so long. Apparently doing this over generations in Eorzea will turn you into this. I feel cheated. This seems way easier than having to go to the gym. They are not the only ones that changed due to evolution, though. Actually, the explanation that the lore book gives to why sheep have so much fleece in this game is because in the age of endless frost, where everything was just ice and cold as hell, the Highlanders needed something that would keep them warm, and so they deliberately bred the sheep to have more wool than they actually have meat. While we are on the topic of food, more or less, don't you ever try to vegan them? Like, they are mostly meat eaters and they will prefer their meat rare. Overcooking is a great sin, and it's kinda described as a downright taboo. And they also love spices, which is likely because they kinda geographically are on the trade route from the east to the west, and we'll get a little bit into that later. They are known to make medicinal tea that is brewed on ground horn powder steeped in water. That sounds yummy. There is also a reason why Highlanders don't have eyebrows. See, I have been wondering about this ever since I saw in the character creator that you cannot make a male Highlander with eyebrows. It's not that they can't grow them, but at a lore panel it was described how much it was an advantage to not have them, because in a region where everybody is a fighter, like every man, every woman, every child, likely every dog, you kinda need just a little something to outsmart or unsettle your opponent, so that you will have that upper hand. And apparently everybody expects people to have eyebrows, and I guess they kind of telegraph your intentions a lot easier. So this might actually have helped them figure out the intentions of their opponents. And so shaving them off was a great advantage for them. The lore panel did also specify that other clans might have different ways to get the upper hand, but this was now a common thing for Highlanders to just shave them off, or give themselves ugly scars, or pull out their teeth, or anything that'll just make your enemy go, could we not? So I imagine being a doctor to that will be fun times. Highlanders are also very spiritual, and they have wood-carved talisman that are woven into their underclothes, so it's also always very close to them. And yes, I realize this is just a shitty excuse to show this off. And a lot of them also have tattoos on their bodies that are promises, proofs of their spiritual devotion or vows that they have made to the gods. Ralger is the patron deity of Ala Mhigo and the Highlanders, and he is the destroyer, and he's affiliated with lightning, and he's the husband of Nemea and the dad of Helone and Byragod. And you know what, in my mind, I always thought that he would be this big burly dude, but apparently he's more often depicted as a magi carrying a staff. And I was just going, Louisois? Is this you? Ala Mhigo is the city-state of Gurabania, just like Lemsalaminsa is the city-state of Vilbrand, Uldar the city-state of Fanalan, and Gridania the city-state of the Twelveswood, and Ishgard the city-state of Kurthus and Dravania. So Gurabania is the region, Ala Mhigo is the city-state. It is located in the most eastern part of Oldenard, and it's bordering the Shroud and, well, Garlemald, but we'll get into that later. And I guess now it's mostly known for, well, getting itself occupied by Garlemald and, you know, all of the fun that they've had out of that for the roughly 20 years of occupation that they've had. Ala Mhigo consists mostly of Highlanders. They make up a whole 60% of the population, but there are also Hellsguards, which is this kind of Rogadin that has the nose ash. They are about 10%, and then the Mikote Seekers of the Sun, that are another 10%, and then there are 10% others, which I have no clue what that might be. I mentioned the Rogadin, and it's actually kind of interesting because there is some semblance between how the Highlanders name their people and how the Rogadin Seawolves do. And so, bastard son of a seawolf is a very common insult, and when you kind of see a Highlander, they do look a little bit like a Midlander and a Rogadin had a child, so I can see how Highlanders might have started a lot of fights on that one. They have never really been very friendly to outsiders, and they are known to bash down anybody who might wish to migrate into the region or downright invade in general. And they love to fight. They have been very good at inventing creative ways to do so as well, and Monk and Red Mage are both originating from Ala Mhigo. They have actually been known so much for their love of fighting that they got a fish named after them, which is the Ala Mhigan fighting fish, and it's described as a beautiful blue freshwater fish known for its violent disposition. When put in a pond or a tank with another of its species, the two will battle each other until one is dead. So, you know, cute thing to give name to, I guess. Ala Mhigo has been historically a pretty grand place. In 1135, Anshelm Cutter unified the military might of Gurabania, like all of the warring clans, he unified them, and he built a citadel on the shores of the eastern lake. And this is officially the birth of the city-state of Ala Mhigo. And when they united themselves, they were able to just systematize the control of the trading route with the East and Near East for Eorzea. And they got super wealthy on it, like the way they taxed that and regulated that. Right up until 1190, which is about 387, or let's say around 400 years before the game starts. Because at that point, Ulda figured out that they could just put their stuff in boats and sail instead of putting it in choco bags and carriages and carry it over the land masses. And so the Ala Mhigans missed out on the taxes, and it has been a little bit of a downhill slide from then on, it seems. Because Guinea is not really a very green nation, as you can see, and the fact that they didn't have those extra funds really made it difficult for them to get on. So, I mean, what do you do when you don't have stuff to sell? Well, you can sell your people, and, well, aside of slavery, of course, being a thing that happened, you can also sell your people's might. So there was a lot of mercenaries who sold their skills to other nations. And Ulda and even the Chileans have historically enlisted Ala Mhigan soldiers over the years. Ulda have used them on several occasions even, which makes it a little bit unfine that they're then so hateful towards the Ala Mhigan refugees, but I guess that's just the way people work. So, about 110 years ago, King Manfred invaded the East Shroud. He sent General Gilbard and his men over the Villadina River to grab territory. At this point, Ala Mhigo has very few resources, they don't have any farmlands, and I guess they are tired of being used as mercenaries. A lot of people have made a lot of good videos on the Autumn War and the reasons why and how it played out, but I'll just give you some highlights here. They managed to get really far. They even got the Claustrum, which is the Seed Seer's legendary staff, and they won that year. But then the year after, Ulda, Limsa, Lominsa, and Ishgard actually all sent troops to aid Gridania, and Ala Mhigo is sent packing. And when they go through the Shroud, they kind of get attacked by the Shroud itself. You've probably also heard about King Theodoric, who is better known on the very charming moniker, the Mad King. Kinda screwed his people over in his power-hungry and paranoid megalomania there, and he's not very well regarded. He got a lot of people murdered. There's a lot in the MSQ about that and a lot in side quests about that. But we can make another video on that if that has any interest actually. But an interesting little tidbit of information is that he tore down the statue of Ralga after battling with the faithful, and he turned that area into an execution ground, so he's a really classy dude. About 20 years ago, the Ala Mhigans managed to rid themselves of King Theodoric. The King's Guards themselves actually opened the doors for the revolutionaries, so I think that counts as treason. You know, I'm not an expert, but I think that counts as treason. But awesome, well done guys. Only the problem is when you don't have a head of state and you don't have a military that is united, then you're just asking neighboring Garlemald to invade more or less, which they did. And a lot of people fled. And again, that can be a whole other video upon itself, but another little interesting tidbit is that most people that fled from Ala Mhigo settled around Ulda because, in part, the 12s wouldn't have them. Like, they would downright eat them. They would invoke the Green Wrath, which is what it's called when the woods is pissed at you, and get stampeded or get ill or get killed somehow. So they couldn't go there, but a lot of them then went to Ulda and settled in areas that Ulda don't care much about. But interestingly, a lot of them has also settled in the Golden Bazaar. And I think looking at the size of this already, I had better stop here. There were actually a bit more facts than I thought I would be able to figure out on a whim here. But yeah, if you made it all the way here, awesome! I'm surprised. Happy to see you, but I'm a little bit surprised. If you are here anyway, though, you might as well tell me what you think of this format, if it is something that we should do more, and if you have any suggestions for topics or indeed for characters that I could make fan art of, while I talk a little bit about random facts relating to their race or their culture or country or history. Either way, thank you so much for sticking with it. Thank you so much for watching and have a really lovely day. Bye!